Welcome to Miss Scarlett. Subscribe and don't miss out on Patreon. Have fun! Levi sat in the cramped living room of the off-campus apartment he shared with his 3 college roommates, all of whom were over 18 and navigating their early 20s with the kind of reckless energy that came from too much freedom and not enough sleep. The air smelled of stale pizza and the faint tang of energy drinks, remnants of the all-night gaming marathon that had led to this moment. He had lost the bet spectacularly, betting he could outlast them all in a grueling round of online battles, but fatigue had claimed him first. Now, as the sun dipped low outside the window, casting long shadows across the cluttered floor, his friends circled him like gleeful predators, their laughter echoing off the walls.
"Come on, man. A deal's a deal,"
said Jordan, the tallest of the group, his broad shoulders shaking with mirth as he held up a makeup palette scavenged from his sister's old kit. Beside him, Tyler and Marcus grinned, their faces flushed from the excitement. Levi shifted uncomfortably in the rickety wooden chair they'd dragged from the kitchen, his auburn hair falling into his eyes as he tried to protest. But the rules were clear. Loser gets the full feminine makeover. No holds barred. They were all adults here, pushing the boundaries of their friendship in ways that felt both absurd and unbreakable. Jordan started with the foundation, dabbing it onto Levi's skin with exaggerated care, blending it over his cheeks and forehead until his features softened under the creamy layer.
"Hold still, or it'll look like a clown show,"
he teased, though his hands were surprisingly steady. Tyler took over with the blush, sweeping rosy pink across Levi's cheekbones, highlighting the angles in a way that made his face appear more delicate. Marcus, ever the perfectionist, handled the mascara, carefully coating each lash to make Levi's eyes pop with unexpected depth. They worked in tandem, their banter filling the room, turning what could have been awkward into a chaotic ritual of camaraderie. As the hours ticked by, they moved on to the rest. They styled Levi's auburn hair, brushing it out and adding soft waves with a borrowed curling iron, letting it cascade down to his shoulders in a way that framed his face elegantly. Then came the clothes, a pink satin dress with white lace trim that hugged his frame just right, borrowed from a thrift store run earlier that day. It shimmered under the living room lights, the fabric cool against his skin. They slipped silver kitten heels onto his feet, the small elevation forcing him to adjust his posture, standing taller yet more gracefully. By evening, the transformation was complete. Levi looked in the mirror, and there she was, Molly, staring back with wide eyes, her auburn hair glowing softly, the dress accentuating a femininity she hadn't known was there. The roommates burst into laughter again, snapping photos with their phones as evidence of the bet's fulfillment. "Smile for the camera, Molly," Tyler called out, and though she felt a flush of embarrassment, Molly obliged, striking a playful pose that drew even more cheers. The photos captured her in various angles, the pink satin catching the light, the white lace adding a touch of innocence. But as they scrolled through the images, something shifted inside her. The attention, the way the dress moved with her, the subtle sway in the heels. It wasn't just humiliation. It was intriguing, a spark of something new. They decided to take it further, heading to a campus party that night, the kind thrown in a sprawling house on the edge of town, where music pulsed and lights flashed. Molly hesitated at the door, her silver kitten heels clicking uncertainly on the pavement, but her friends urged her on. "Own it," Jordan whispered. And she did. Stepping inside, the room buzzed with energy. Fellow students, all over 18, mingling with cups in hand, laughter rising above the beat. Heads turned as Molly entered, her auburn hair catching the colorful strobe lights, the pink satin dress drawing admiring glances. At first she felt exposed, but then came the compliments. "You look amazing!" from a girl in a sparkly top. "That dress is fire!" from a guy leaning against the wall. What started as reluctant participation bloomed into genuine enjoyment. Molly found herself chatting with strangers, her voice softening instinctively, the mascara enhancing her expressive eyes as she laughed at jokes and shared stories. The attention was intoxicating, not mocking, but appreciative, making her feel seen in a way Levi never had. She danced lightly in her silver kitten heels, the white lace trim fluttering, her auburn hair swaying with the rhythm. By the end of the night, as they piled back into the car, her friends still chuckling over the photos, Molly realized she didn't want it to end. The humiliation had faded, replaced by a sense of freedom in this new persona. The next morning, sunlight filtered through the apartment blinds, and Molly stirred on the couch where she'd crashed, still in the pink satin dress, her auburn hair tousled but intact. She sat up, glancing at the mirror across the room, and smiled at the reflection. Her roommates emerged from their rooms, bleary-eyed but amused.
"So, back to Levi?"
Marcus asked, but Molly shook her head. "Not yet," she said softly, surprising even herself. They exchanged looks, then shrugged, the bet's spirit lingering. That week, she stayed as Molly, venturing out for classes in adapted outfits, still feminine, always the heels clicking, the makeup subtle but present. It became a ritual. Every Friday evening, they gathered in the living room, the same chair waiting. Jordan would refresh the foundation, blending it seamlessly over her skin, ensuring it matched her natural tone perfectly. Tyler added the blush, experimenting with shades, but always keeping it light and flattering. Marcus handled the mascara, curling her lashes for that wide-eyed effect. They'd style her auburn hair differently each time, sometimes in loose waves, other times pinned up with clips that let strands frame her face. The pink satin dress remained a staple, its white lace trim a constant, paired with the silver kitten heels that she now walked in with confidence. One such Friday, as they prepared, the conversation turned deeper. "You know, this isn't just about the bet anymore," Jordan admitted while applying the foundation. Molly nodded, feeling the brush's gentle strokes. "It feels right," she replied, her voice steady. At the party that night, held in a different house with fairy lights strung across the backyard, Molly mingled effortlessly. She met Sarah, a literature major with a quick wit, who complimented her auburn hair and the way the pink satin caught the evening breeze. They talked for hours about books and dreams, Sarah's laughter genuine, making Molly feel a connection that transcended the makeover. As weeks passed, the ritual evolved. Molly started contributing ideas, suggesting new eyeshadow palettes or accessories that complemented the dress. Her roommates supported her, turning the apartment into a safe haven for this exploration. One evening, after the makeup session, they decided to host their own gathering. Friends arrived, all over 18, filling the space with chatter and music. Molly greeted them at the door, her silver kitten heels shining, auburn hair styled in elegant curls. The compliments flowed, and she thrived, sharing stories of her week, feeling the freedom in every gesture. But it wasn't without challenges. During a rainy afternoon, Molly walked to the campus library, the pink satin dress protected by a light jacket, her heels navigating puddles carefully. A gust of wind tousled her auburn hair, and she caught a reflection in a window, pausing to adjust the white lace trim. Inside, she buried herself in studies, her mascara-framed eyes scanning pages, the feminine attire a constant reminder of her choice. Classmates noticed, some whispering, but most were kind, intrigued by her confidence. The ritual deepened her bonds with her roommates. Tyler, who had always been the quiet one, opened up during a makeup session, sharing his own insecurities while applying the blush. "This is cool, you know, seeing you embrace it." Molly smiled, feeling the warmth of acceptance. Marcus, with the mascara wand in hand, confessed his admiration for her bravery. Jordan, ever the leader, suggested they document the journey, not just photos, but a private journal of moments, capturing how the pink satin dress had become more than fabric. One weekend, they took a road trip to a nearby town, Molly in her signature look, auburn hair flowing in the wind from the open car window. They explored shops where she tried on scarves that matched the white lace trim, her silver kitten heels echoing on tiled floors. At a cafe, they sat outside, sipping coffee, and a passerby complimented her style, sparking a conversation that led to new friendships. The freedom grew, Molly feeling alive in ways she hadn't anticipated. Back home, the rituals continued with added flair. They incorporated music, playing upbeat tunes while Jordan blended the foundation, turning the chair into a stage of sorts. Tyler's blush applications became artistic, subtle gradients that enhanced her features. Marcus experimented with eyeliner alongside the mascara, defining her eyes further. Her auburn hair received treatments, conditioners that made it shine, styles that varied from braids to updos, always complementing the pink satin. Socially, Molly expanded her circle. At another party, under twinkling lights in a garden, she danced with a group of friends, her dress swirling, heels tapping rhythmically. She met Ethan, an art student who sketched her quickly on a napkin, capturing the flow of her auburn hair and the elegance of the white lace. Their conversation flowed into discussions of creativity, inspiring Molly to consider her own artistic side. As months unfolded, the transformation felt permanent in spirit. Molly attended lectures, her notebook filled with notes, the silver kitten heels a familiar sound in hallways. She joined a campus club for creative writing, sharing stories influenced by her experiences, her auburn hair often tied back for focus. The roommates adapted the apartment, adding feminine touches like scented candles that complemented the ritual's atmosphere. One crisp autumn day, while walking through fallen leaves, the pink satin rustling softly, Molly reflected on her journey. The bet had been a catalyst, but the enjoyment, the freedom, it was hers now. Her friends noticed the change, supporting her without question. During a quiet evening ritual, as Jordan applied the foundation with practiced ease, they talked about the future.
"What if this is more than weekly?"
Tyler mused, dabbing on the blush. Molly considered it, her heart leaning toward permanence. The rituals brought unexpected adventures. They attended a costume ball, where Molly's look fit seamlessly, her auburn hair adorned with a simple tiara, the dress enhanced with temporary glitter on the lace. She won a prize for Best Ensemble, the applause boosting her confidence. Another time, they volunteered at a community event, Molly helping organize, her heels practical yet stylish on the grass. Friendships deepened. Sarah became a close confidant, joining some rituals, offering tips on hairstyling for Molly's auburn locks. They spent afternoons in parks, discussing life, the pink satin a constant in Molly's wardrobe. Ethan invited her to art shows, where her presence inspired his work, sketches of her graceful form in silver heels. Challenges arose, like a wardrobe malfunction during a windy day, but Molly handled it with poise, adjusting the white lace trim and continuing on. Her roommates were there, always, turning potential setbacks into laughs. The makeup sessions became therapeutic, a time for sharing dreams while Marcus applied the mascara meticulously. As winter approached, they decorated the apartment with lights, the ritual taking on a festive air. Jordan blended foundation under warm glows. Tyler added holiday-themed blush. Marcus enhanced with shimmering mascara. Molly's auburn hair was styled with ribbons, matching the season. They hosted a small gathering, friends toasting to her journey. One snowy evening, Molly ventured out alone for the first time, her silver kitten heels crunching on fresh powder, pink satin layered with a coat. She visited a bookstore, browsing shelves, her reflection in the window showing a woman at ease. Strangers smiled, some engaging in brief chats, affirming her place. The ritual's consistency built routine. Fridays were sacred, chair ready, makeup laid out. Jordan's foundation application was now expert, Tyler's blush precise, Marcus's mascara flawless. Auburn hair styled variably, always beautiful. The pink satin dress, with its white lace, felt like a second skin. Socially, Molly thrived. At a poetry reading, she shared a piece about transformation, her voice clear, heels planted firmly. Applause followed, connections formed. With roommates, bonds strengthened. Late-night talks, post-ritual, sharing vulnerabilities. Spring brought renewal. They picnicked in blooming fields, Molly's dress fluttering, auburn hair catching sunlight. Adventures included hiking trails, her heels swapped for practical yet feminine flats temporarily, but always returning to the core look. One day, a university event featured a talent show. Molly performed a monologue, her presence captivating. Silver kitten heels on stage, pink satin shining. The audience loved it, cheers echoing. As summer neared, the rituals intensified with warmth. Outdoor sessions, makeup under sunlight, auburn hair flowing freely. They planned trips, Molly excited for new horizons. But then, during a routine Friday, as Jordan reached for the foundation, a knock sounded at the door. It was an unexpected visitor, someone from Molly's past, holding a letter that could change everything, their expressions serious as they said, "We need to talk about who you really are." Hope you enjoyed the story so far. The rest will be available on Patreon.